Good morning, everyone, and thank you guys so much for joining today's stream. We are set to have a wild day in the market. Don't forget, we have Powell later on today. So far, the market's pretty flat. Some of the major movers this morning, I would say the main one is ATVI, ATVI. It's really selling off on their earnings report. Plus, they got a lot of price target adjustments from what was it, like 5 or 6 different banks, something like that. So most of them being to the downside. So that's not good to see. But all in all, we are set to have a wild day. Tom, what are some of your top stocks for today?
One of my favorites was actually CVS, and they had a pretty good earnings report early on. It looks like they are dipping back down a little bit right now, but I know that we've been really eyeing them up a lot lately. And with these good earnings, it looks like they are kind of moving back to the upside here. I know I'm also going to be eyeing up Penn Gaming. I know they have earnings coming up over the next couple of days, and it looks like they might be forming a bit of a support here around $72. So if you see them start to pop, they might have a nice little pre-earnings run up.
Good stuff. And then, Tom, you can't forget about BBBY. So this stock straight up exploded in after hours yesterday, and it brought a lot of the other meme stocks up with it, like AMC. And basically with BBBY, they have news, let me see. Yeah, so they have news with Kroger. They have a partnership with Kroger, which is pretty big. It's like a $1 billion 3-year share repurchase plan as well. So overall, that's popping up, and it's starting to bring some positive momentum with the meme stocks, which is good to see. So definitely keep that in mind. The market is now open, and I just want to welcome everyone to the stream. So thank you guys so much for joining, and welcome George, Matt, Mike, Alex, Vicky, Robin, Paul, and I'm Fierce. We have Matt saying, morning. It's been a while since I've been able to get on the live. Well, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate you. And, let us know what stocks you're watching. So, Tom, we have the market open, and NIO's leading the way.
Yeah, they are really leading the way to the upside. I know NIO has really been running a lot lately, and it looks like they might be breaking out today. I know there's been a huge resistance here around 42.50, but if they break that to the upside, I could see them having a pretty good move, especially with how the rest of the EV sector has been running up today.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I know that we're getting pretty close to a breakout, and with Tesla just exploding over the past month or so, I'd love to see some similar action out of NIO.
Yeah, me too. I mean, NIO has been a big player. Like we can see here on the chart, they've been recovering up pretty well with Tesla the past couple of weeks. So hopefully they can get up there. They're about to break that resistance right now, actually. They're getting pretty close here within 20 cents or so.
There we go. At the same time, we are seeing CHGG attempt to rebound. So this one just got absolutely demolished yesterday. CHGG. It's up 2% so far today, but their earnings are looking pretty rough. So, we could see they just got demolished on this daily chart. In my opinion, yes, yes, they can pop back up, but I still don't think it's worth the risk buying calls right now. One, because of how high the implied volatility is getting, but two, a lot of times with these types of setups, they just end up slowly bleeding off, kind of like Snapchat the other week. Yes, it had a green day, a couple green days sprinkled in, but overall it's just been continuing to sell off. So, it might be okay to dip by some calls, but I think the real opportunity with CHGG and Snapchat would be some short puts.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a really good way to go too. And even if they keep going down, I don't know what strikes we're talking about here, Mike, but if you're looking at some good strikes, if you're going down towards that $50 support, 48 support, if you're getting some type of strike around there, I feel like that's a really good opportunity. And even if it goes down in the short term, it might bounce around there or somewhere pretty close at least. So at least you're getting it at a lower level than you are now.
No doubt. All right, so we have George saying LMND up on news of having launched their Lemonade car product. So that's pretty cool. I haven't seen I haven't seen that news, but it sounds pretty good. Their stock's doing pretty well. So thanks for pointing that out, George. Honestly, I might sell some puts on this one.
Yeah, and Lemonade's not looking too bad. I love the way they're starting to pop up here on the daily chart. They bounced right off of that humongous $60 support. What a great level. They bounced off this level all the way back in September of 2020. So they've been hitting off this level quite a bit. And I could see them at least coming up to maybe this $80 resistance over the next couple days.
There we go. Awesome to see that. I'm just doing a quick scan to see what's moving right now. Looks like CHGG is leading the way so far. I'm just trying to see what else is moving. BLNK is looking all right. Chinese stocks are popping back up a little bit. So yeah, I'm just doing a quick scan. Tom, it looks like Beyond Meat is also trying to make a little bit of a recovery. I know they kind of fell off pretty hard like a couple weeks ago, and they're slowly trying to pop back up. This one kind of reminds me about Zoom, just like in like a short-term, like technical way.
Yeah, it kind of does for me too. And it's just, it's really kind of just lingering around support here, kind of like Zoom is. And, I really think that these stocks can end up doing pretty good for the next like couple of years. But in the short term, it seems like they've been having lots of problems lately. I know Beyond had that big gap to the downside here, like we can see on the daily chart the other day. But ever since then, they've been actually recovering up pretty nicely. And I thought that the way that they passed above $100 a share was pretty good today. And it looks like they're having a nice run, and it looks like they're trying to fill this gap.
There we go. All right, so we have George saying NNDM also popping on news of having acquired some stuff. He said Nano Dimension acquires Esemtech AG surface mount pick-in-place system supplier for the PCB and OEM industries. Well, that's interesting. I have not heard of this news, but it looks pretty good, and the stock is popping off, so that's good. Tom, this setup's actually not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Whatever you just said sounded pretty fancy anyways, so it sounds like something pretty good. And either way, they're starting to really break this big resistance. I've had a pretty big support / resistance on this chart here, right around $6.50 for a long time. And it looks like they are breaking that to the upside as of today. So I feel like that's a pretty good move that we're seeing. And you can see that in pre-market, they even kind of consolidated right there. So I honestly like the setup. And I know that this has been pretty hyped up over the past couple months, Mike. And I know that obviously whenever it was running earlier this year, it was getting a lot of attention, but lots of people have been talking about buying it on the dip. So hopefully we see it start to explode with the rest of these growth stocks.
Here we go. I'm hoping. Looking across a couple different stocks right now. Let's check in with Tesla because, it's not tanking off, but like I feel like it's at an interesting point right now where it's like stuck in like this like I guess you could say this like middle ground where it's like it doesn't know if it wants to rise or fall or what it wants to do, because at the end of the day, Tesla went on just a crazy uptrend for like the past month, right? And you'd expect some, at least some sort of pullback, but, it's definitely not going down without a fight. And with this type of movement, not only is it going to screw over the people who bought calls, but it's also going to screw over the people who bought puts, because, like, for the past, 3 days or so, the stock really hasn't moved too much. And, just a lot of these options for this week are just getting destroyed.
Yeah, they really are, unfortunately. And it's really strange to see that, to me, Mike, that the overall market is somehow holding up. But, today we're finally seeing it start to pull back. It was blowing my mind yesterday how we were seeing all those stocks pulling back and then the market was still flying up. But today, I think it just couldn't help itself. It's coming back down. I'm really interested to see how Tesla goes. With all these other stocks going down, I feel like Tesla has a pretty good chance to keep going down with those too. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I hope that Tesla keeps going. But man, it's just it's definitely been a very crazy past couple of days. I feel like that these earnings have been all over the place. Like we're seeing some stocks do pretty good, but I feel like most of the stocks we're seeing are honestly just going all over the place. Like they might move down and then fly back up and then end up selling off for the next couple of days. It's just been a lot of up and down movement, I feel like.
Well, how about that Corsair action yesterday? I mean, that thing was crazy. So the stock tanks down on earnings, comes back up. It tanked down to like 23, comes back up to 25, which would be even, then runs up like 8% to like just under 27, then tanks all the way back down, goes red, and now it's trying to pop back up again. So, it's really all over the place, like you said. And, with earnings for the rest of the week, plus Powell later today, I mean, I would expect this volatility to continue.
Yeah, I would think it could definitely continue. And sorry, but I feel like a lot of people are also maybe de-risking themselves ahead of Powell talking later. I know that he's supposed to talk about inflation going up. CNBC's been putting out a lot of articles about them just tapering bond purchasing or even stopping it altogether. So there's definitely lots of stuff that they're talking about, like rates going up even. lots of different stuff. So we'll have to see what he says later. I know it's definitely a pretty big one this time. I know that the past few times he's talked, he's just been pretty much talking about inflation being transitory and, this and that. But I feel like this time we might actually get some pretty good action. And, with them talking about the rates going up, that's going to be pretty drastic over the next few months.
You know it. All right, so we have David saying, what's your thoughts on ASTS? So let's take a look. ASTS, today it's up a little bit, like 2.5%. Setup's not bad. Honestly, I haven't looked at this one before. It says AST Space Mobile. I'm not familiar with this company. The setup looks okay. It's decent. I mean, it's just like there's no like strong uptrend. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna stay neutral on it. Honestly, this is like not like an amazing setup for me.
Yeah, it's not for me either. I don't know. It looks like on the daily, it is starting to get a little bit of momentum to it. So it could be good if you're just trying to get some quick, like in and out type of day trades or something like that on it. I feel like it could move good. But like Mike pointed out, there's not a lot of volume. It sounds like an interesting company, AST Space Mobile. I've never heard of it though, and I'll definitely have to look into them.
All right, so we have Matt and George mentioning the meme stocks, Tom, AMC and GME. So they're definitely popping off today. AMC's up basically 9%, and the market's only been open for like 9 minutes. So it's definitely exploding up. Lots of momentum with it. Wow, that's a lot of volume flowing in actually. Like right at open, there's a ton of volume flowing in. This is like actually the most for quite some time. So it's good to see. Tom, what level should we watch?
Yeah, there's definitely that high of pre-market we have to be pretty careful of here at 43.64. I honestly have a level on my chart here at 42.50 that it looks like we're kind of bouncing off of intraday here, but we might break it with the way we're moving up right now. It looks like there is a lot of momentum and volume coming in. Like you pointed out, that implied volatility is starting to also fly up, which indicates that there might be some movement coming in. And I feel like that looking at this going forward, AMC looks like it's bouncing pretty well off this bottom support. And if we start to break this level of back on like October 19th, if we start to break out above like $44, I feel like this stock could start to have a pretty decent run. It looks like that the support's holding up pretty well. And, AMC is not my favorite to buy and hold, but I feel like for like the next couple of days, it might start to run if it can keep breaking these levels.
Yeah, and we can't forget that earnings for AMC is next week. Shout out George for that information. But yeah, it's running up. Looks like a little bit of a pre-earnings run up, plus a bounce off support, plus some volume flowing in. And then how's GameStop doing?
Yeah, they're doing just as good, to be honest. They're following that 100 SMA. They're about to get to their pre-market, or I should say their after hours high of yesterday, around 227. It looks very similar today of AMC. And I feel like that GameStop definitely has momentum with it too. And, as we're talking about this, even Bed Bath & Beyond's going up. It just seems like all the meme stocks over the past couple of days have had some pretty good moves, which is pretty fun to see. I feel like GameStop has honestly been moving off the technicals pretty well. You can see it really following some of these SMA levels.
For sure. I mean, it is looking pretty good. It's good to see some momentum back with these hype stocks. Of course, they are risky, but honestly, like when you have the implied volatility for GameStop at 112%, even though it's high, like it's nowhere near what it was a couple months ago at like 400 or 500%. So, plus with the stock moving up, plus earnings with AMC soon, should be interesting. And I've noticed that like when these like hype stocks normally run up like this, a lot of times the market itself ends up falling. So I don't know if this is like a little bit of a precursor to what might happen later today, or if it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I know. It's very hard to say right now. I mean, it's really tough. I mean, I'm really hoping that it shows that the stock might start to run up, but either way, I mean, I hope that we get that pre-market break. And I shouldn't say pre-market, that after hours break around 227. And I'm just really hoping that a lot of these stocks can get some good momentum because like you said, the earnings are kind of coming up and I feel like it's definitely going to create some volatility soon.
There we go. All right, so we have I'm Fierce saying SoFi is popping this morning. So let's take a look. SOFI, it's looking pretty good. They have earnings pretty soon. This looks like a pre-earnings run-up. I've actually been really tempted to get some shares of this one for the long term. Not like a huge position, but just like a starter position. I've actually, because like whenever I think of SoFi, I also like kind of think of like Upstart. So I've actually been wanting to grab some shares of Upstart too, but nowhere near these levels. But I just thought that was interesting. And SoFi's up like 3%. Tom, what levels do you have for us?
Yeah, it's actually starting to really break out here. We have to go out to the 1 year daily to even get any levels because of how far away we're actually starting to move now. There's a big resistance coming up here right around 24 to $24.50. So be really careful around there. I feel like $24 will be a pretty big resistance, but as we've been seeing, this stock's been really flying up, breaking lots of resistances. So as we start to get to here, I don't know, it's going to be tough. If you're holding shares, I would say continue holding, but if you have calls and puts, I would maybe look at maybe getting taking profits on a couple of them, maybe look at holding a couple past this, but I feel like that with the momentum it could possibly break these resistances, but keep in mind it looks like they're going to be pretty strong.
We shall see. All right, we have Spacely saying, morning, guys. Thanks for joining, Spacely. Guys, if you like our content, it would mean the world to us if you could hit that like button. It takes like 2 seconds, and it really helps us out. So thank you guys so much for being here. We have Matt saying, holding Tesla put spread, the 1200 strike in the 1195 strike expiring Friday. So let's take a look at it. He said 1200 was the... Yeah, it's not bad actually. You know, it's not a bad play at all. So I hope that expires for max profit for you. It's looking good so far. Then we have, let's see, we have Vicky asking for levels on QS. So Tom, I've actually been eyeing this one a lot. It's been very volatile over like the past 3 or 4 trading days, but it's not looking bad to be honest.
Yeah, it's actually not. It looks like it might start to break out of this level that we've been having some problems at here, right around $30. And if we start to break out of here or break $30.50, I feel like that this stock will have a pretty nice move. Like we're seeing a lot of stocks are kind of setting up this way right now. And I feel like the QuantumScape has been a pretty popular one as well. And if they start to break their resistance, I feel like they could also have a pretty nice run to the upside. I'm also seeing resistance around 32.50, so be careful of that one too.
All right. And then we have George saying SKLZ also pumping earnings later today. So yeah, I was looking at this one. SKLZ, they're up a good amount. They're up like 8% on the day, and basically ever since open, it's just been exploding. You know, with earnings later today, personally, you know, it's just it's not really a play for me just because of earnings, and it's always a gamble. But you know, if you like that high risk, high reward setup, like it could be a pretty huge play. Like I know this one was just exploding. I guess you could say in the beginning of 2021, they were basically at like $45 a share, and now they're at 12. So I guess if you wanted to gamble on it, it wouldn't be bad given the price point now. But I'll definitely have my eyes on it.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely going to be a very interesting one to see later on today with those earnings. I know it's had a lot of hype, and this recovery has been pretty good to the upside. So I'm going to keep my eyes on it as well. And there is a big resistance I'm seeing around 15. So definitely eye that up. Maybe the earnings will get us a pop up to 15.
You know it. All right. So we have Kathy saying, what do you think about BLNK? So BLNK, it's up like 2% today. I like the setup overall. Ideally for short put options, but if you wanted to get some calls, it wouldn't be bad. I just would really consider getting some high quality call options, like nothing really out of the money, like preferably has a good amount of time, and maybe even like a call debit spread or something like that. It's not my favorite setup in the world right now, but I think it does look relatively good.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like it's kind of like it's very similar to like a Corsair or just, you know, some of those stocks like lingering down here around support right now. It's definitely in that growth stock category. And if those stocks start to fly up, generally Blink does pretty good. And, you know, we've been seeing like RUN and CHPT doing pretty good as well. So hopefully Blink can start to move a little bit more off their support. I feel like they have been lagging behind some of the other stocks a little bit, but maybe their earnings will get them a nice boost.
Gotcha. All right, we have Mike saying, whoa, what's going on with AMC? You know, looks like we're seeing a little bit of a pre-earnings run-up here, plus a pretty strong bounce off support. AMC has a ton of volume flowing in today, and, you know, like that's the main thing. I'm looking at the news right now. Let me just scroll through this. It looks like they're also trading in sympathy with BBBY, which ran up with the Kroger deal, which is pretty big. And like that's like the main news right now. But you just got to watch out for that earnings report. It could be huge for them, or it could be like a giant IV crush.
Yeah, it could be just a big IV crush. That would honestly be a really bad scenario here. And it looks like they might be posting lower highs from after hours of yesterday. So hopefully that momentum comes back in pretty soon. I will say on the 1 minute, it looks like it's recovering up pretty nice so far. So it's definitely going to be a volatile stock today. And as we can see, that IV is starting to really pop with these crazy moves.
Alrighty. I'm just doing a quick scan, and it looks like AMD's having a pretty good day. I don't know if you saw that one. They're up they actually made brand new highs.
Yeah, they made new highs. They're only up like 1.2%, but it looks like they are moving pretty well again, up to new all-time highs, which is awesome to see. I wonder how their friends NVIDIA are doing. It looks like they're also up 0.4%, which is decent. It looks like they made new highs as well, even though there's a red candle here on the daily chart. And I feel like these stocks, you just can't go wrong with them. I mean, I would not be buying shares right now with them being at all-time highs like this. But man, whenever these stocks dip, I feel like getting these ones for the long term is just such an easy thing to do, especially with the way you look at them over the past couple of years and with how they're supposed to keep doing good with AI coming out and everything.
For sure. All right, so we have Sean saying, I got the Clove, $7.50 calls for December 17th. What are the levels? So I haven't looked at Clove in a while, Tom. This one was on my radar. It used to be on my radar a lot, but I'm kind of glad I took it off my radar because it hasn't been doing anything for like the past, for a while, we'll say. But the main level, I would say, would be right around like $7 even. That'll be a huge support. Then if it breaks below that, there's also a pretty big support at $6.50. In terms of like upside movement, there's some pretty good resistance right around like just under $10, like $9.75, that $10 range. And then if we do see a breakout, there's more resistance right around 11. So those are the main levels I see. I don't know if I missed anything, Tom.
Yeah, I'm seeing the ones up there like around like 11 and 10 pretty well. Another one around $9. I would say a big short-term one to me is kind of looking like somewhere right here, right around $7.90 or $8, at least over the past couple of days. That's been some good like intraday levels to look at. I know that those daily levels are definitely going to be the better ones to watch for at like 10 or 11. I really hope that this support area ends up holding up around $7, Mike. I know that, we've seen this stock come down to this level a lot and then start to have good moves off of it. So hopefully we hold this level again. And if it does, I feel like the stock could have a pretty good bounce back to the upside. It seems like every time we bounce right here, we get one. So if you see it start to break out, I feel like it's not the worst time to buy. It's still, though, it's just not my favorite stock to trade.
All right, so we have Apex saying, what about GPS? Let's take a look. GPS, it's up 4%. Doesn't look bad. Not a bad setup overall. I can see a bounce back up over the next couple weeks or so. IV is mid-range, so options are relatively well priced. I don't think it's a bad setup.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It came down. It looks like it's bouncing off support. We're bouncing right around that 1,000 SMA, which is generally pretty good on the daily chart also. And I feel like that this stock could have a pretty good move. They've definitely been getting hit though the past couple of months, and I feel like that the turnaround could definitely be pretty good. I'm not saying they're going to go back up to $35, but I feel like a nice retest of like $26 or $28 could be pretty good over the next couple of weeks.
All right. We have Jenny saying, good morning, guys. What are you thinking about Visa? Thinking of it as a long-term hold. So you can't go wrong with getting some Visa shares. I know that they've been struggling quite a bit over, the past couple months or so. I do like them for the long term, but to be honest with you, I would not be surprised at all if we saw it go lower and there was a better opportunity to buy in at. Just looking at the trend, I can really see it continuing lower. I'm not saying it's going to crash down to like 130 or anything like that, but I can really see it touching maybe like 200 or right around that level. It's a solid stock. It's a solid company. There's a lot of variables like with the market overall and what Powell says later today. So all in all, they're definitely a solid company for the long term.
Yeah, and I don't know what's been going on with these credit card companies lately, but Visa and MasterCard both have just been taking huge hits. I don't know if some like laws might get passed soon, or if somebody knows something we don't, or if some laws did get passed maybe that we don't know about, or something. But either way, I feel like that these credit card companies are falling in a pretty drastic way. Like Mike said, they should be really good for the long term, but I don't know like what exactly is making them fall here. I'm definitely gonna have to do some research and kind of see like if there's like if it's just bad fundamentals or what's going on.
Alrighty. We have Adam saying, "What do you guys think about Hood? HOOD? You know, I know it's been struggling a lot, and their earnings were kind of bad the other week. I like it for some short put options, but it's definitely not like a call play for me right now, or even like a dip buy. You know, I've really been looking at it for some short puts. Like right now, the stock's at like 35. I've really been considering selling the like 30 strike put for November 19th. You know, that way, if I do get a sign, it's going to be at a pretty low price.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a pretty good way to go because that way, like you said, you're getting in at least pretty low, which is a good thing to do. And with a stock like this that's starting to fall down a little bit with those bad earnings, I mean, that's definitely the way to go. I don't think I would just buy calls straight up right here. Maybe I would buy like some leaps expiring in like a couple years or something like that. But I think that would be about all I got if I got any calls.
Gotcha. All right, we have Max saying liking Apple for today. Apple's doing pretty good. Just don't forget we have that FOMC. So, you know, that can always bring a ton of volatility into the markets. That FOMC is later in the afternoon today. And I just know that, you know, if the FOMC is really good, it could be really good for Apple. If it's really bad, it could be really bad. You know, normally Apple moves with the market. So good stuff there, but Apple's definitely trending in the right direction so far. We have Gerard saying, "What a nice recovery from Facebook." I was looking at this one. I know that they've been struggling a lot over the past month, but I'll say, Tom, like over like the past like week or so, they have been holding their ground pretty well.
Yeah, they have. And I think that that metaverse news has just totally changed the game for Facebook. I feel like that almost everything that was wrong with them has just been thrown out the window. I feel like I've just been seeing this so much hype about this metaverse stuff lately. And I feel like people have just totally forgotten about everything that was happening before that. So, you know, good move by Facebook. I feel like it was a very smart thing to do. And I feel like that this metaverse thing is also going to be pretty cool whenever it gets implemented. You know, it sounds pretty cool from all the rumors that I'm hearing so far, and it sounds like some pretty good opportunities even for business and different stuff like that.
Yeah, because I know that the other week, like whenever you would type in Facebook on Google, it'd be like Facebook whistleblower, Facebook this, Facebook that, and it was all negative. And now you type in Facebook and it's like Facebook rebrands to Meta and adopts Infinity Loop logo. This Meta, you know, like all this metaverse news. And, you know, it is taking away from that bad press that they were having. And, you know, it's really, I don't know, I guess it was a very strategic move by Zuckerberg to change the name at this time. You know, I don't know if he purposely decided to change his name when all the bad news is coming out about Facebook or if it was just a coincidence. But either way, it seems like a very strategic move by them, and the stock's definitely holding its ground. So, yeah, we have Johnny Leverage saying apps down 15% after earnings. Maybe dip buy. Maybe. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't. What about you?
I don't know. You know, it looks like a pretty good stock to me. I mean, it honestly to me reminds me of like an Enphase or like a stock like that, how it's moving. Obviously Enphase made new highs there, but I feel like it's still a pretty good stock. I mean, it's obviously down on earnings pretty drastically. I wouldn't be buying it right now, but maybe over the next couple of months, if I like watch it and it comes down to maybe like the $60 support and maybe just starts consolidating pretty well, I'll look at it a little bit harder. In the short term, I'm not going to look at it at all. But like I said, over the next couple of months, once the earnings kind of dissipate, I feel like it could be pretty good. I don't know. I've heard a lot of hype about this company. I've also heard some, you know, I haven't heard too much negative stuff, but I've heard a lot of hype at least about it.
Gotcha. All right. Then we have Matt saying Boeing credit spreads for Friday with a question mark, 200 and 205. So let's take a look. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it for sure. Personally, I would just do a short put, but I know that that's not for everyone. But either way, it looks pretty decent. The only thing I would be worried about is the FOMC meetings. Like for example, if you sell these put credit spreads now, like if you sell the 205 put and you buy the 200 put, and the market tanks with some FOMC news, that can kind of screw you over. So I like the setup. It's just maybe get it after the FOMC. It just depends, Like there's just uncertainty when it comes to these types of days.
Yeah, there really is, and it's just a very weird scenario. I know that he could obviously make the markets fly up to new highs, and he could obviously make the markets tank. There's tons of different stuff that can happen. He could maybe just have the wrong tone of voice, and people thought he sounded wrong. Like there's been weird stuff before like that. So I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting day though, to say the least. And the SPY is pretty much unchanged. We're only down negative 0.08%. Really, we're just very flat so far today. I feel like it's going to be pretty slow moving until Powell comes out. And then I feel like, obviously I feel like then the market could get some pretty big boost, especially with this like rate news. I feel like that's going to be some of the more telling signs here with the market and the economy overall, to be honest.
Well, Tom, you know how it is. Like sometimes we have good earnings and the stock falls. We have bad earnings and the stock explodes. It's kind of the same thing with the Feds. Like Powell can say something pretty bad and then market's up to new all-time highs. And then he says something like, all right, everything's going good, this, and that, and then the market tanks. So you know how it is.
Yeah, it's really crazy. There's always those weird things. And we've been seeing it a lot lately. Like you even pointed out with CRSR the other day. They tank off in pre-market. Everyone thinks Corsair is going to end up going down. The market opens and they make not new highs but weekly highs up to 26.75. Like no one ever expects these moves to happen, but it seems like it definitely can. And I would not be surprised if maybe like the SPY maybe flew up heading into the meeting, and then once Powell talks, maybe the SPY tanks back down. But obviously, no one can guess what's going to happen during this one.
We have Sean saying, come on, Big Daddy Powell's tone is always perfect. I mean, lately it has been, with the way he's pumping the market.
Yeah, it really has. He's just been coming out talking about inflation and talking about it being transitory and this and that and the next. I know that the last time he said inflation's getting slightly worse, but then he said that there's plenty of tools that they have to counteract these measures. So, but hopefully he deploys those tools this time. I don't know. I know that there's definitely lots of talk, and like he said, his tone's usually perfect. And lately he's been making the market go up every time. I know people like to always take positions on the VIX and stuff ahead of him talking, but man, if you go like if you're basing that on the past 5 times of him talking, man, it seems like he's been making the market rip lately.
I mean, to Powell's credit, he has a tough job, like especially like with the COVID crash and all that. So he has done a pretty good job. I mean, the market is continuously broken all-time highs, and like he has a way of just calming the market. Like he's very strategic, but honestly, I feel like he's gonna piss some people off pretty soon, because you can't just pump the market forever like that. And today they're expected to announce the tapering, the start of tapering at least, like with more information and things like that. So we'll see what happens. But overall, he's been doing a pretty good job, because if we're being honest, like with everything that happened over the past 2 years with COVID, the world shutting down, like he didn't have an easy term, we'll say.
Yeah, definitely not. And I don't know if you guys like remember back a few years ago whenever Janet Yellen was the head of the Fed. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I feel like she made people a lot angrier than Powell's been making people lately. At least Powell's been like making the market go up and different stuff like that. Man, I know Yellen was all over the place whenever she was in there, and she was like taking statements back and doing this and that. And she even did it a couple times over the past couple years, even though she hasn't been the head of the Fed. But yeah. I mean, either way, I feel like Powell's been a pretty good, a pretty high step up from where Yellen was anyways. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat remember, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But stuff was all over the place back then with the rates and everything.
Yep. All right, we have an update from GameStop. We have George saying GameStop now up 15%. Yeah, I'm seeing GameStop and AMC break out today. So GameStop now up 20%. Okay, up 20%. GameStop is exploding up. Tom, there's a ton of volume with this one too. Like it's really exploding. GameStop's actually leading the way compared to AMC. They're at 250 right now, and while GameStop's up 20%, AMC's only up 11%. But like you look intraday on GameStop, Tom, look at that volume coming in. This is crazy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at it on the 1 minute. Yeah, look at that volume. There's more volume coming in than there was right at market open. We're up to $250 a share on the daily chart. This is starting to be a really large candle here to the upside. We broke a lot of these resistances at like 228, 230. I'm so glad to see it running. I don't even see too much resistance here around 250. I really hope that we can get up towards these this big $300 level that we've hit a few times in the past. That would make for some awesome trading. And man, I'll tell you what, for everybody who's been like holding AMC and GameStop for the past few months at a loss, I know that they're going to be pretty happy to see these stocks moving up like this over the past few days.
You know it. All right, so let's get back into these questions. We have Iranical saying thoughts on AbbVie. So Tom, I know we were talking about this one a little bit before we even started the stream, but it's down 14% on the day. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely not having a good move right now. Like you said, we talked about it a little bit before the stream. I was honestly really looking for AbbVie to maybe do good with the earnings here, especially with that new video game coming out. I know that they generally like dip down heading into these game releases, and then once the game comes out, they get a little bit of a boost back to the upside. I know that they just came out with some delays on a game. I'm not sure which one it was. If you guys know if it's Call of Duty or not, definitely let me know. But they make tons of games. Any types of delays are terrible. We saw company EA. They actually delayed Battlefield a few weeks ago or a few months ago. And you can see they fell from 145 all the way down to 125 and then recovered back up for the next couple of weeks. So I don't know. Maybe AbbVie can recover back up whenever the game comes out, but I'd be really careful with them right now. They just broke that big support. Unfortunately, they're going down. I feel like for shares right now or for selling puts, it might be a pretty good opportunity, but I would say be pretty careful though if you're just trying to play some shorter term plays. The only things I would do are just short puts or get shares.
All right. I like it for short puts and then even shares too. So I agree with you on that one. And then we have, let's see, we have Vicky saying Powell saved the economy. He did. You know, he did a really good job. I give him 100% credit for that. He did not have an easy job, especially over the past couple of years. And then we have Peter saying opinions on BLNK. Looking at BLNK, it's holding its ground now. I think we covered this one earlier in the stream. It's not my favorite setup in the world, but it's definitely not bad at all. You just got to be careful with the options you select on this one. I would say the most important thing with this one would be the option quality you select. Like if you're going far out of the money, I think you're going to get screwed over. But if you go like preferably in the money with time, I think you should be good.
Yeah, it could be pretty good. I don't, especially like if you get leaps with like a year or two's time on them, I feel like that could be one of the better ways to go with BLNK. Obviously, they've been kind of consolidating a lot lately, so we don't know. You know, hopefully they start to move away from these supports and they start to fly up towards $40 or higher. But I would not be too surprised if they ended up consolidating either. So I don't know. There's definitely no end phase to me, but I still like the company though.
All right, let's see. We have Matt saying, took a quick $70 on AMC. There we go. Matt also said Tesla's dropping. Well, that's interesting. So, yeah, it's like flat on the day, but it's definitely selling off from its high of day. I wouldn't be surprised if this one falls off a little bit more, mainly just because of how much it ran up in, the past month. Like, it literally went from 800 up to 1,200. Like, that's a crazy move. So, either way, it's on an amazing uptrend, but you got to watch out for a pullback.
Yeah, definitely. And we're even seeing NIO start to pull back today. You can see they kind of hit that double top up there at like 42.50. Looked like we might actually see a breakout, and then they just had a huge reversal to the downside, way worse than Tesla, actually. You can see Tesla is holding their ground pretty well. But man, NIO's selling off pretty drastically. I know XPEV had a pretty bad move even at market open. It seems like the EVs are not having a good day today.
All right. We have Robin saying BB is trying to follow GameStop and AMC. Yes, it is. I actually been watching this one too. It's creeping up there, Tom. It's up 7.5%, and it's following it. So definitely keep an eye on BB. All these hype stocks generally move together, but I think it's very interesting to know or to see how GameStop is the one leading the way. A lot of times over like the past couple months, we'd have AMC up 20% and then GameStop up like 10%. But today we have GameStop up 20% and we have AMC up like 11 or 12. So I just think that's interesting. It looks like GameStop's the major one for today.
Yeah, they really are, and they're getting a big boost. And Mike, what's that other phone company that everyone used to hype up? It was kind of like BlackBerry. And
was it Nokia?
Yeah, Nokia, NOK. Yeah, look at even Nokia's up today, up 2.2%, trying to get a little bit of a pop. They had those earnings actually a while ago. Looks like they had a little bit of an earnings boost and then they fell back to the downside. But yeah, it's very cool to see how GameStop's leading the way. That's a cool thing you pointed out there. I didn't even realize that today. And it looks like ever since they broke that $200 resistance right around there, they just exploded, Mike. It's just I don't know, like, do you think that they're exploding because more retail traders are just drawn into GameStop, or do you think that maybe there's something better fundamentally going on with GameStop compared to AMC?
I would say, and like this is just my opinion, is that it's all like a snowball effect. So for example, whether we have AMC running up, Clover, GameStop, BB, whatever, wherever the hype is, that's where most of the attention is. So for example, you know, with GameStop being up 20% and AMC only being up 11 or 12%, I would assume that, you know, GameStop would lead the way on Wall Street Bets in Twitter and Discord groups and all that. And since it has the most attention, it'll probably have more buyers coming into it, which makes GameStop go up even more, right? And then some people who are holding AMC might say, oh, well, GameStop's up 20%, AMC's only up 11%, so I'm going to jump into GameStop instead. You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like it's a snowball effect. Like, whichever stock has, like, the runs up more in the beginning ends up getting more attention, which ends up having more people see it and more people buy it. So that's my opinion. I know that we always have like a bunch of different stocks running up, and you know, if you look at like a I guess you could say like a data set of all of Wall Street Bets like top mentions, like you can see like how like just attention really affects these stocks. Like when all these retail traders are searching about it, it gets more attention and more people just buy in.
Yeah, definitely. That's always the biggest thing. And I've noticed that generally, like whatever, like what you said, whatever stocks are like leading that Wall Street Bets sentiment list are generally the stocks doing the best. And like you pointed out, GME having a great day, now up 19%. Looks like it's even starting to turn back to the upside. I'm wondering where we'll end up today with this one, Mike. Like, you think that we have a chance to go back up above 255.69? I mean, man, it's already had a pretty big run up today. I don't know. I feel like it has a pretty good chance, but I feel like it's going to be tough.
I can see it. You know, it's hard to bet against this one. I remember like the first time GameStop was starting to run up, Tom. Like we're looking at it as it's just exploding. Like it went from like $10 up to like 50, and we're all like, all right, time to buy some puts. Call it a day. The stock's done. And then Tom, you're like, if this thing breaks all-time highs and breaks 60 or 66 or whatever, I'm going to make a shine and worship Wall Street Bets or whatever. And then it ended up breaking like 500. So it's so hard to bet against it.
Yeah, it really is. I remember that, Mike. That was so funny. The all-time high at that time was like $60. The thing ended up going to 500. I was mind blown. I didn't think that could happen at all. But hey, you know, this stuff is definitely cool to see. And I hope that the hype comes back in today, because I'd love to see them maybe get up towards like have a nice like 25%, 30% up day. That would be awesome to see. And I'm just really hoping that over the next few days, I'd love to see him get up to that $300 resistance. I'm really eyeing that up here on the daily chart. And that would be a very good psychological level to get up to as well.
You know it. looks like we have Corsair not going down without a fight. I know over the past couple weeks and even the past couple months, this poor stock got smashed, and it was looking a little rough on earnings yesterday, and at least now it's coming back up.
Yeah, I feel a little bad for them. They've gotten some pretty bad stuff happening to them over the past couple of weeks, unfortunately. But I'm glad that they're coming back. Like you said, it looks like the support's holding up. And I will say they have been underperforming compared to a lot of other stocks. And I feel like that they could end up doing pretty good this winter. It's going to be a very tough go for them. Like I said, they've been underperforming. So hopefully they start to get some hype.
All righty. So looking at some of the leaders today, we have Teladoc creeping up there. I don't know if you saw that one, but Teladoc is up like 2%. They had an amazing reversal on earnings last week, and they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, they are actually. They're getting up towards these resistance levels. There's a big one like right around 152.50 and 153. I see that we bounced a lot right there, and it does look like they're having a pretty good uptrend today. And like you said, those earnings were very strange for them last week. They had that big dip to the downside during after hours there, and then the very next day at market open, they just really recovered within 5 minutes. I mean, it was an absolutely crazy move.
I saw you looking at Tilray. What's happening with that one?
Man, up 6%. I guess Tilray was, they had that big boost to the upside a couple weeks ago whenever California's governor, I forgot what they did exactly. They like legalized some type of marijuana, but they ended up coming back down, and now they're kind of bouncing off that $10 support again. So hopefully Tilray and these marijuana stocks start to get some good news and some good momentum back to the upside. That would be awesome to see. I'm really glad to see them bouncing off support. It looks like CGC is kind of popping up. I know that CGC has earnings coming up as well, and hopefully we can get some nice sympathy plays going on. I'd like to see the marijuana sector start to pop off. I know that one thing that we talk about a lot, Mike, that I just want all the viewers to be aware of is that a lot of these companies that we talk about are largely based in Canada. Like Canopy Growth is mostly Canadian. I know Tilray has some investors from the United States, like Bud, which is Anheuser-Busch and stuff like that. But in the end, I know that most of these companies are Canadian. I know PLNHF is a pretty good American company. They've been dipping down a lot lately. And I don't know, Mike, I've been looking at grabbing some of these for the longer term, but we just need some type of hype or some good momentum. Because I'd hate to buy them here around $4 and have them slowly sell off to $2 over the next couple of years if no legislation gets passed.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the news from Tilray from the other week, and it looks like the California governor signed a historic bill to legalize smokable hemp and CBD edibles. So that was the news, and they ran up on it initially, but they kind of sold off. But they're holding their ground, and they're definitely a play to watch out for. It's just hard to trade these MJ stocks because they'll literally double or triple within a couple weeks, but for the rest of the year they'll just sell off.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe I'm just being dumb with the situation or something, Mike, but didn't you think that California's had this legalized for a long time? I don't know about you, but smokable hemp, I thought that you could just go buy it at the store in California. I thought they had recreational passed or whatever.
Yeah, honestly, I don't follow it too much, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, let us know in the chat, guys. Maybe if you guys know exactly what happened or something. It seemed because I've been seeing that in the movies and stuff.
Right.
They'll go to the pier or whatever. I've been seeing lots of weird stuff like that in California. They've been saying that that's been legalized for a while, I thought.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's good for these companies either way,
Yeah.
It's just, I know that a lot of them are they're not in the best financial position, to put it that way. And like you said, at the end of the day, they're mainly Canadian companies. So I'm waiting for a full-on US MJ company, and then I definitely consider an investment in them. But as of right now, I definitely want to have some exposure to the sector. But I don't know, Tilray's not going to cut it for me.
Yeah, me either. It's just I don't know. They've had so much crazy movement. I feel like that they're decent because of how they have some good investments, but in either way, I feel like it's just going to be a very, very risky play. I really like PLNHF personally. I feel like this one's pretty good, and they have some pretty big like superstores in Las Vegas, and I think they opened up a new one in California a while ago. I believe I read. So I don't know. Maybe check out this company if you guys are looking for some more U.S. companies, and if you guys know any, definitely let us know some tickers down in the chat.
There we go. All right, we have Jenny saying Ford has been doing well lately. From what I read, many are saying it's only a $13 stock. Is it at the end of its growth now? I would not say that. I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook Ford, and what I really like about Ford is that they're really adapting, and they're becoming a competitor in the EV market. Now they are nowhere near Tesla now. I don't even want to compare them like those two, but what I do like about them is they are showing that they can adapt, which is huge in my opinion. I like them. They're not my favorite stock in the world, we'll say, but I do like them, and I can definitely see them popping up over like the next couple years. Now, are they gonna, what did Tesla do, like 10x over like the past 2 years or something? Are they gonna 10x? Probably not, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a respectable move.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm actually looking for is I know that like Tesla has been really overtaking these other auto manufacturers as far as market cap goes. Like obviously Tesla, didn't they just pass the $1 trillion mark not too long ago?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean they've been exploding.
Yeah, I think that they passed $1 trillion a while ago,
Yeah, they
even, and
did.
it was a really nice move. And I know that Ford used to be the kings up there. I know for a while Toyota was the king, Mercedes was up there even for a while. Now Tesla is the king by a long shot. I mean, I can't believe the valuation that they're at right now. It's pretty strong, and I feel like that some of these companies like Ford and GM might start to cut into that over the next few years. Like I know that Ford, they said by like 2025, they expect like half of their vehicles to be electric. And man, if Ford sells like right now, I don't know how many vehicles they've sold this year total so far, but imagine that number cut in half being all electric. I mean, they'd be having way more sales than Tesla. So I don't know. It's going to be a really crazy next few years. I don't think that they're going to be as cool or even come close to Tesla in my mind either, but it's definitely lots of people are talking about at least the sales numbers possibly being up there with them in the next few years.
Yeah, so Tesla's valuation is currently at $1.1 trillion. So
Yeah,
pretty
yeah, I
big.
must have passed above it like last week.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been exploding, and they are actually the sixth largest publicly traded company in the U.S. right now. To put something into perspective, it looks like Tesla is actually bigger than J.P. Morgan and Nvidia combined. So
Both of them combined.
yeah, it looks like it because like J.P. Morgan has like a $500 billion valuation. Nvidia has a $650 billion valuation. So when you add them up, it looks like it looks like they're bigger than both of them combined.
That's actually really crazy to hear. I would never have thought that. I knew they were very large, but I didn't think that they were that big. That's a crazy thing to hear. But as we can see, I mean, they are really popping off. I'm glad to see him pass that $1 trillion mark too. I know that they were getting close to it a while ago, and I'm really glad to see him get back up there and I know they've been the king of the automakers for a while, but it looks like they might almost be the king of all stocks soon if they keep going the way they're going, Mike. I mean, they're gunning for Amazon, it looks like.
We'll see. We got Apple. Yeah, they're definitely gunning for Amazon. Then they have Apple at the top. Apple with a $2.5 trillion valuation. So
Ooh.
Tesla has some work to do if they want to catch up to Apple, but they're definitely getting pretty close to Amazon. Amazon sitting at 1.7 trillion. So we'll see what happens there. But definitely very interesting. We have Matt saying Elon is worth more than Bezos and Zuckerberg combined. Read the article yesterday, so I didn't even see that. I know that he was getting really close to to Bezos for a while, but with Tesla stock exploding like that, and with Facebook tanking down, I mean it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. And the thing that's even crazier is I feel like Tesla has nowhere to go but up either. I mean, man, like I know that they're still like lots of people are talking about them being the kings and everything. I feel like that they're still kind of in the beginning stages too still. Like I feel like that Ford and GM might even have still more established stuff already than Tesla. Like they can switch over to electric vehicles, I feel like a lot easier than Tesla can start putting stuff out. But the main thing I think that Tesla's going to see in the future is right now they're selling consumer vehicles, right? Like a lot of vehicles for just, like the Tesla Model S, the Roadsters and stuff like that. Just wait till these like electric autonomous semi trucks start coming out. Like that's going to change the way that we ship goods across the country and stuff. Like, man, we won't have to pay. I know it sounds like almost a bad scenario. A lot of people are going to lose jobs, but we won't have to pay drivers anymore. It's going to change the auto industry whenever those semi trucks and stuff start coming out and being fully autonomous.
Yeah. All right. We have Jamie saying KSS up 9%. So it looks like another, I guess you can say like a meme stock popping off, but it's not looking bad. It's actually trending pretty well.
Yeah, up 8.7. Can't believe this one has this nice move like this. And I'm glad to see the retail companies starting to get back up there. Like you said, they're kind of going up with the meme stock. So I was hoping to see some good fundamentals, but it looks like they're just going up with the meme.
Going up with the meme. There we go. All right, we have Zal saying BRAX anyone. So let's take a look. BRAX. It looks decent right now. What are your thoughts? See, like my thinker something's actually lagging. Tom, what about you?
Mine must be lagging. I thought maybe I just wasn't getting the ticker, but I guess it's just I think maybe is it even loading for you, Mike? I don't think I'm even getting this as a ticker.
So I type in BRAX and the chart loads, but like not a lot of information.
Maybe I need to go to a daily.
Let me see.
Nope. What time frame are you on?
Actually, you know what? No, it's not loading anymore. So, yeah, Zale, we're having some trouble loading that ticker. But with the next comment, we have Kieran asking about AMD. So, AMD is flat today. They broke all-time highs, though. What are your thoughts on this one?
You know, it could end up running up again tomorrow. Like, what I would do if I was looking to play AMD to the upside, I would just pretty much mark a level here, like around 129.50 or around 130, and just wait for it to break that tomorrow, and then get in for a very quick scalp and then get out. I like AMD for the long term, but with the way they've been popping up, I mean, man, they've been making new highs. I'm not saying that I think that they're going to necessarily pull back drastically or anything like that. I feel like it definitely has a chance to continue up on the daily here, but I feel like eventually we're going to see a little bit of pullback here in the shorter term. So I'd be a little bit careful with them. And like I said, just make them pass above 130 if you really want to play a nice play.
All righty. So yeah, we basically covered everything that's moving, Tom. Do you have any last minute stocks or anything you're watching?
You know, I'm actually going to be watching Fastly here. They're having a pretty nice recovery. They had a bad sell-off yesterday. They're recovering up pretty well so far today. They have earnings coming out in after hours, so it's probably going to be crazy. But man, I'm glad to see them recover up like this. And, you know, we've seen lots of stocks starting to pop up with earnings a lot lately. A lot have went down too, but some of these growth stocks have been starting to break out. And, you know, if Fastly breaks out on earnings, that could be a pretty good move.
There we go. All righty. We have George saying Redfin on the recovery post Zillow earnings. So, yeah, I know Zillow got smacked yesterday, and they're still getting smacked. They're down another basically 20%. I know that their house flipping program is not doing good at all. And it's not good at all. But Redfin is definitely holding up more. I definitely like Redfin more than Zillow. And I know that Open has also been struggling with it, but they're definitely holding up pretty good too. So I like Redfin for the long term. I think it should do just fine, but earnings are always 50-50, so keep that in mind. We have Matt saying, thank you guys again. It was great to be back for the live. Thanks for joining, Matt. We appreciate it. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for joining. We had a great time today. Don't forget, we have Powell speaking later on, so be prepared for some volatility, and hopefully it goes good. So hopefully it goes good. Thank you guys so much for joining, and have an amazing rest of your day.